My name's Catherine King, and I was born in 1948 on the 15th of November, and I don't know what time. I was born at the University College Hospital in London.
When you were born, where were you living?
We were living at 110 Stapleton Hall Road.
Who were you living with?
We were living with my Auntie Mary, my cousin Wendy, and Uncle Peter was in another room with his wife Auntie Pauline and Francesca. And Susie, my sister, wasn't actually born then, but she was.
And nor was Wendy.
No, was Wendy, no, because I was the eldest.
Because Wendy is 9 months older than me. And Lenora wasn't born, who was called Len then. So, can you think of any memories of your childhood? I mean, I've got a few, like Clissold Park and
I
stuff.
remember I was carrying my little baby brother down the stone steps into the kitchen that was kind of very old-fashioned. It was. I think it was concrete kitchen, led out into a beautiful big garden that Mum used to do some gardening, and I think my dad did when he was home out the Navy. But yes, I was carrying my baby brother down the stairs, and my mum was at the bottom saying her prayers and guiding me down the stairs because she thought I was going to drop.
I thought you were going to say that you dropped the baby.
But no, I didn't.
That's very good.
But I did do something naughty. I don't know why I did it. I remember my baby brother in the kitchen, and I climbed up on something I was climbing up, and I reached out for the salt, and I was spoon feeding salt to my little baby brother. I don't know why I did it.
Tea.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. This is Steve, Cathy's husband.
Yeah, Cathy, please.
Who's waiting on us at the moment.
Yeah, because he's got pick.
So maybe that's the reason why your baby brother likes salt.
I thought it was you and me, Susie, that likes.
We do, but so does your baby brother. Right. So, do you remember being at boarding school, and when was that? How old were you?
I thought I was 4.
Right.
I've always thought I was 4, and Lynn was 2.
Okay.
Somebody could put me right if I am wrong, but that's what I've always thought. And I used to sleepwalk at boarding school. I suppose maybe I was homesick. Yeah, I did sleepwalk, and I got caught by the nuns once sleepwalking. And they promptly, I think I was trying to get back into the bed, and they were like iron beds, not very comfortable. And I bashed the side of my mouth, which woke me up suddenly, and then I had blood going all over me. And I got caught by the nun, and she dragged me by the hair into the bathroom.
Ouch.
Made me take my pyjamas off and stand there and wash them until I got all the blood out.
Dear, that's terrible.
That's what I did.
That's what it was like in those days, wasn't it? Do you remember any of the family, like Auntie Madge and people, and
Auntie Madge was
Auntie Mary?
Favourite. Auntie Madge at the time was my favourite auntie.
Aye.
Promising to take me round the world.
Oh, that's nice.
But no, actually she was always there. She bought me a beautiful old-fashioned pram, the old-fashioned prams. I think that was when Ricky was born, and we had it for Michael as well, because Michael was in the pram and Ricky would sit on top on a chair.
That's
nice.
nice.
Chairs
Yeah.
but you couldn't let go of the pram because it would tilt.
Tilt up, yeah. Upturn.
And she bought me that, she did, Auntie Madge.
So, what was Auntie Madge like?
She was a tiny little lady because she had a problem with her spine, so she had a permanent hump there.
Right.
And as I got older, she got smaller.
Yeah.
If you don't get my meaning.
And she was a teacher, wasn't she?
She was a teacher, and then she worked for the, I think it was the job centre, doing something clerical. She worked there for a while.
And what do you remember about people like Auntie Carrie Auntie Carrie and...
I just remember her vaguely when we went round there for tea, and it was very posh. And I remember...
Does she live in Islington?
It might have been a bit further...
Or North London, wasn't it, somewhere?
It was North London, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Islington itself. But she had a very posh house, and she'd make us a very posh tea, because I put my foot in it once, and I said, "This is the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life." I don't even know how old I was then.
So can you I could be filming you for about 3 or 4 hours really, but I'm not going to, of course. So could you describe some of the events that are memorable in your life?
I remember there was when we were at Stapleton Hall Road. I remember they used to have this like a fete, like a garden fete. I remember Mum making a cake, which I think was bought by Eamon Andrews.
Oh right, okay.
He went to the bazaar, and I think he bought Mum's cake.
Yeah.
She'd made. I remember that. Yeah. Oh God.
Her fruit cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was famous for her fruit cakes, and you are as well.
No, she just used to get me to ice them, and I wasn't really that good at icing.
No, but
But I got better and better
Yeah.
with the fruit cake.
and you started winning prizes later on in your life.
Oh gosh, I've got my book upstairs with all my little first prize, second prize, and
Wow.
I've kept it in a little book. Runner up or whatever. Marmalade I made.
Ooh.
Chutneys.
Homemade lemonade.
Strawberry jam, which
Bread.
they adored. Bread, I always got a prize for the bread.
And the cakes.
And the cakes, yeah, Victoria sponges. But you had to make them the traditional way, which is you have raspberry jam, but you don't take the seeds out. You leave the seeds in there, and the reason is when you sandwich them together, they don't slide off because you've got the grip of the raspberry jam, and it would be white sugar on top.
Thank you, Steve. So Steve's come in with a cup of tea. That's nice, and a coffee for Cathy
Which is all I can drink.
Cathy's on the
At
coffee.
least it's a hot drink.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the memories of a child. Do you remember the event at Clissold Park where Mum was looking after a girl who cut their foot and left our clothes?
Left our clothes. We were swimming, weren't we?
Yeah, we were in a paddling pool, yeah.
Paddling pool. And we left all our clothes. Yeah, we had to go home in our costume.
Yeah, and you were particularly conscious because you had quite big breasts at that point, didn't you?
Probably about 12 or something.
Yeah.
Or 11, something like that. No, I was in a children's home as well. So
Tell us about that.
I think that was, I might have been about 11 or 12 then. Lots of things happened there.
You ran away, didn't you?
I ran away from home because
You thought you were adopted, didn't you?
Auntie Pauline
Yeah.
was living with us at the time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
Caused a lot of problems.
Of course, I was a bit of a handful anyway. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Teenager.
If I'm honest. Yes, Leah, I understand. But yeah, it was quite a hard time. But I was at this home, children's home in Poplar. It was Poplar. I call the midwife is. I love that. Yeah, I was there for just over a year, I think. And then they said to me, "What would you like to do? You can't stay here any longer because it's like what they call a reception home, waiting to get you adopted or whatever." But I think I got sent home in the end after a year. But I did have a lot of experiences. Not all of them very nice, except the person that did run the home, Mr. Baker, he was my idol, I think. Yeah, never a cruel word or very understanding. And when I started a new school, it was St Peter's and St Paul's actually. So I must
I
have
think
been
you were at
younger.
St Peter's and Paul's.
Yeah, I was
St Paul's.
quite a lot of schools actually.
Mm.
St Mary's and St Joseph in
Yeah.
Poplar.
Yeah.
And I was in the children's home. And then the Sacred Heart.
Yeah. Up in Holloway.
Yeah. I said Amwell Street, didn't I? Yeah. St Peter's and St Paul's.
Yeah.
But anyway, eventually I did go to I think that even later enough, I went to a temporary foster home where she used to treat me like her little servant. I mean, I used to do all her work for her. So in the end, she wouldn't even give me any dinner money for school, so I went back home to Mum.
And then very soon after you met a Liverpudlian guy, didn't you?
Yeah, Richard Evans.
Richard Evans, who you were in love with, weren't you, at the time? And then he had a friend called Peter Smith, didn't he?
I don't know if they were close friends.
Oh, they were
They
friends,
had the most
though.
awful row
Yeah.
over me.
Oh, yeah.
And,
And you ended up going with Peter and having Ricky from there. I mean, I can tell.
oh, well, he didn't want to know anyway.
No, no.
But my mum wrote to the parents and said, your son's the father, and he was threatening me with all sorts of things.
But
I said, Mum, if he doesn't want to know me or the baby, fine.
Did you know that Richard Evans wanted to know you and keep the baby with you?
No.
Oh, that came out later when he had a discussion with me. A long time.
Would have been a different turn, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, can you tell us a little bit about your Liverpool experience when you went up to Liverpool? Because both Richard Evans and Peter Smith were from Liverpool, weren't they?
Yeah, his parents were a lot older, I think, than Richard's parents.
Right.
Peter's parents.
Yeah.
Very old-fashioned. But his mum, he had lots of brothers, and he had a twin sister. Richard did. Richard had a twin sister called Linda. No, sorry, that was his other younger sister. His sister was called Valmai. I don't know if it was short for something. And I used to go to bingo in Liverpool with his mum. But I found it very hard, the accent, when they were calling the numbers out.
Didn't you go to the Cavern once as well, you told me?
I'm sure I did. I remember.
And that you kind of remember seeing a group that could have been the Beatles?
No, I don't think it was the Beatles.
They weren't called the Beatles.
It was a well-known group.
What was it, the Mersey Beats?
I think it was someone even more famous.
Jerry and the Pacemakers?
No, it wasn't Jerry, because I liked him, actually. I love that. Every time I hear that song, Ferry Across the Mersey.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it always reminds me. I loved Liverpool, really.
Yeah.
I did. I went back there when I was looking after your children.
Yeah.
Supposedly, in the green room.
Yeah.
I think
that was on the weather map, wasn't it, when we were juggling
I had
on
quite a lot of freedom there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Spoiled.
We did go to the Beatles Museum then as well. We did go there. I remember going there.
Yeah.
So
I remember. Was it the Mersey Beats or was it?
We'll come back to that.
Those,
so tell us about. I mean, I know that I wasn't very particularly nice to you because you woke me up in the middle of the night when you were having your baby. Because I said, "Wake me up," and you dutifully woke me up. And I was so, yeah. And then I was so cross. I said, "Go on, go and have it," and you did. And he was nicknamed Ringo, wasn't he?
I was. The nurses called him Ringo before I even named him because he had black fluffy hair.
Yeah, like Ringo, like the Beatles.
Like the Beatles.
So go on, when you were in labour, you remember?
I started labour in the early hours of Sunday, and it was actually Tuesday in the early hours that I had.
Oh my goodness, that's a long time.
I was in labour a long time.
Yay.
Not with all the others, but.
Wow. Now, before that, you were working at the Blue Kettle.
Yeah.
So what sort of work did you have, and what memory do you have of Islington and Mum and everything? Mum was working a lot, wasn't she?
Mum was always working, bless her.
You used to look after us.
I used to bring home any leftover cakes and sandwiches after I'd cleaned all the equipment. You know, they had a showcase with the
At the Blue Kettle.
cakes, and I used to do a variety of jobs. I even took over some cooking once when the lady burnt her hand, and I was making these omelettes, and I didn't even eat eggs then, but I managed to make them, and people were saying, "Oh, you know, compliments to the chef." And the lady came out with her hand with a bandage round it. She said, "This young lady did the cooking."
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
So
I used to go and get the bread, collect all this bread from Chapel Market with my big straw basket.
what was Chapel Market like in those days?
Oh,
Is it a proper working market?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's very quiet now compared.
I don't know what it's like now, but it was quite busy. There was a bread shop on the corner. I used to go and collect all the bread. They always used to get their bread from there, and they would slice it for them on their machine.
Right.
But it was lovely, fresh.
That's nice.
You know,
Bakers. That's
and they were very clean as well. And outside, this is where the Bank of Scotland, I think, is there now. I'm not sure if it's still there. But yeah, they used to have upturned barrels, and they were the sort of tables if you wanted to dine outside, you know.
And what do you remember of Wendy as well? Because Wendy kept on coming into our lives and out because she was running away from children's homes.
Yeah, so I heard.
Perhaps you were in Wellingborough at that point.
She came to see me in Wellingborough.
Tell us a little bit about how you sort of got there, because you came from having a baby, and then you were working in a post office, weren't you?
Yeah, when Ricky was a few months old, I had to go to work, so I lived at Wakeling House at the time, and I'd walk all the way with my big heavy pram down to the nursery, which was, I think it was near the Angel.
Lion Street, wasn't it?
Pentonville Road.
Yeah, Red Lion.
Street, it was.
Yeah, it was Red Lion Square or something like that. I don't know.
Nursery. And I met one of Auntie Tessie's relatives. I think it was, I don't know if it's her sister's daughter, but we became friends, and we used to, if one of us got there more early than the other, because we both were working and trying to collect our babies, and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you didn't always get there on time. So if I got there, I'd collect her little boy, and if she got there, she'd collect my one. So we'd wait, have a little chatter, and go our own little ways.
It must have been quite hard to be a single parent, wasn't it?
It was in them days.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Um,
Yeah, because you know, I remember them saying so he needed some item of clothing, and the way they were saying it to me, I felt like, why are you making me feel so
bad.
small?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have something correct, the clothing or something. That really more. That did, yeah.
So what's your memory of Auntie Mary? What does she used to
I've
do?
always got happy memories, telling us loads of stories, keeping us entertained, spoiling us with sweets and God knows what.
I remember two events. One was with Auntie Mary, and that was on the coast, when we were on the coast. Where was that? What's the folk?
Norfolk.
No, before Norfolk. It was on the Kent coast.
Whitstable.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
We had a caravan.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, but there was.
Bay,
Yeah.
It was between Herne Bay and Whitstable.
And there's also where the convent was. Where was that?
That was in not Surrey.
No, that's in Kent.
No, our boarding school wasn't in.
No, not the boarding school. The convent where we used to stay for holidays with Auntie Mary and Mum.
Oh, that was near Southend.
I'll have a think about that one.
That was Southend.
But I remember when you had about a diarrhea as well.
God, yeah. Auntie Mary was cross with me. But I used to get things like that a lot. I'm wondering if it was when I had an accident when I was in hospital for months because I swung on this little broom while I was sweeping the floor. It was a little toy broom, but it went right through.
Up your... And
From
you had
the
to have
back
stitches, didn't you?
I couldn't even walk when I came out
Wow.
of hospital. I had to learn all over again.
Yeah. And the other time was when you had when you were young. I used to admire you as a little girl because you used to have sticky up hair, beehives hairstyle, and sticky out skirts.
Oh yeah.
With
Flared.
beautiful lace tops as well. Yeah, and I presume you were dressed up to go to music, to see music or something?
I went somewhere in Kent to a party. I wished I hadn't after. I don't know what happened there. I was quite young then. I had one of those sticky out dresses. I think it was a wedding actually that I went to. No, it was a wedding at somewhere in Kent. I can't remember the name. No, I can't off the top of my head. But it was definitely in Kent. You're right about that part.
But I remember you saying to Mum, Mum, I can hear buzzing. And your mum said, don't be silly, you're imagining things. Because she always thought that you were imagining things. Because you had a great storytelling imagination. And I don't know whether you remember that, but as children you used to tell us stories.
Did I?
Yeah, yeah. And apparently at your school, one of your reports said, this child has a great imagination.
Well, the
with your
psychiatrist
English.
said that to me once.
But so did the English teacher with
They
your
said Mum
storytelling.
was under-imaginative, which I would never have had her down as under-imaginative.
No.
Mum. But they said I was over-imaginative.
Yeah.
Therefore, we clashed. But
That's
I don't
interesting.
think so. I think it was probably a teenage thing.
Yeah.
Because I did change up to a point when I had my kids, didn't I?
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone was telling me to get Ricky adopted.
Tell us
but I
Tell
never
us a
would.
little bit about bringing up your kids, because you were very young when you brought up your children.
Yeah.
And how you feel about it all.
I was very, very depressed, on and off, since I was 12 years old. Yeah.
And why?
Always. Why? Well, I remember Auntie Eileen saying to us once about the Knots emotions. Yeah.
You think you might have had that depression?
I definitely did
realised.
have it, but I also had what my psychiatrist today would say as a psychosis, where you see something that isn't actually there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Psychotic
yeah.
episode
Yeah.
when I was 12.
What was the psychotic episode?
That was when Auntie Pauline was living with us,
Yeah.
and she was saying how dirty Mum was and how we had bugs and stuff like that. Never mind that she nicked Mum's bedroom. I don't know where Mum slept. I don't remember, but yeah, she was a bit nasty. And I actually could see these things,
Crawling.
giant things crawling around, which
Yeah.
were
Right there. Yeah.
But I did have some experiences in that room, which I don't think it was anything to do with depression. I think that was true. I'm sure it is.
Are you hurting? Bless you. Well, I won't carry on too much longer, but I just wanted you to just give us a little idea about the children.
What do you mean?
When you had your children,
Yeah.
the kind of life you had, and meeting
Oh
Ivor, Russ and Steve.
God, do I have to go through all that?
No, just give a really
Yeah.
short.
So me and Ivor split up.
And then you went back to London.
I went back to London.
And then you met.
We decided together, me and Ivor, that the kids would be better off with him because he had more stable life than I had at that time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah, I've had several breakdowns,
Yeah.
but then something happened with David. I don't quite know what it was. I think I was finding it very hard. So again, we had a chat, and me and Russ took him on, and he came to live with us.
I remember when he lived with you.
Till he met Alison and decided to go back.
I remember that. And you must used to go to festivals, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was nice. I think that was
Well, I never done anything
you'd
when I
never
was
had a
younger.
childhood, had you? Because she
No.
was always looking after us, and then when you finished looking after us, you had your own babe, Richard, and then when you married Ivor, you had John and Ricky, and then you had Michael soon after, didn't you?
September.
And then you had
in November.
Yeah.
I was just turned 18.
Yeah.
We had to get my dad's permission, even though I wasn't living with Dad. Yeah.
And then you had David and Terry as well.
Then I had them in. By the time I was 21, I'd had all the boys. Terry being the last one.
Yeah. And I remember because I used to come down as a teenager.
And then, what did this stupid lady did? She had I was sterilised at 21, which the doctors in London were horrified.
Yes.
They wouldn't have done it if I'd have lived in London. But because either wouldn't get done,
you decided to, yeah.
The doctor said to me, you can't carry on having children every year of your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's why I was sterilised. But then when I met Russ, we wanted a kid. So I got reversed, but I never did fall.
No.
I did have lots of problems with periods.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And so you had a lovely time with Russ and lived on a canal boat for a while and stuff.
Yeah, until there was a mouse or something.
Yeah. Then you had a split, didn't you? And then
we split up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you went down to London and worked for Obbles, didn't you?
Yeah, I've always been friends with Russ. Always will.
That's nice.
And Steve knows that I love him to bits. Not in the way
that you love Steve.
I love Steve, yeah.
And that you loved Ivor as well.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, I understand
Still
all
do.
that. I still understand that.
Still do.
I was going to ask you, how did you meet Steve?
Well, you were with me when we
know.
first met him, weren't we, in the pub
Yeah.
on the eve
In
before
Islington.
bonfire night. Yeah.
In the Angel Islington.
Yeah.
And so you were with Steve and still are with Steve now.
Yeah.
And that's been a long, long relationship. And you've got how many? Tell us about your children's children and your grand. I'm always confused about how many. You've got such a legacy.
Well, let's see.
Obviously, I don't want to get you into trouble. So if you forget
There's
anyone, we'll say
Crystal.
sorry now.
Crystal and Leah, that's David's too.
Yeah.
They're my grandchildren.
No, they're Terry's too.
Terry's. What did I say?
David's.
I said they're David's.
Yeah.
Of course they're Terry's. And then David has Nikki,
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
Cameron,
Yeah.
Hope, and Becky is the youngest.
My goodness.
So that's another what? 5.
5. Yeah.
So that's 7.
Yeah.
Then there's Michael, Kaylee.
Yeah. Twins. Amy.
There's Amy. Amy's 29.
And the twins.
And the twins, that's 4.
4.
Counting Kaylee. And the last one was Harry.
8, 9, 10,
So that's 12
12,
altogether.
yeah.
That was the grandchildren. Now the great-grandchildren. Where do we start now?
Yeah.
Nikki has Teddy and Freya. So they're the 2 great-grandchildren.
Right.
And then John Reed has got a baby that I've never seen and never been told about.
Oh.
And another one is Becky. She's got a child I've never been told about.
Oh, wow.
So that's another 2.
Right.
That's another, how many? Nikki's got 2. John's
4.
got 1. And so has
4.
Becky. So that's 2, 3, 4.
4.
Then there's Charlie's got 2 children.
Yeah.
Jacob and Lily Rose. So that's
6.
Is that 6?
Yeah. And then there's also
And then
Amy.
there's Amy's Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got another one. hasn't
7.
she?
No.
Oh, she's only got one.
7.
Kaylee's got 2.
She's got 2, yeah.
That's 9.
That's Jensen and Finley.
Yeah.
So that's 9. So 9 and...
Great grandchildren and 12 grandchildren.
9 great grandchildren and
12 grandchildren.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm sure it's more than that. 21.
There probably is.
Harry's baby got adopted.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have another one as well.
And the ones we lost.
Yeah. Bless.
Baby Holly.
Yeah.
That would have been Leah's elder sister.
Yeah.
Lily Rose.
Yeah. Bless.
Ricky's little one. And I've got a little white rose, miniature rose up there. Last time Ricky came, the flower didn't come out. When he'd gone home, a few days later, I sent him a picture of the little red white rose.
That is so lovely.
And then there's 3 we've lost. And there was Harry, who was 25, I think, when he passed.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
And we still remember Harry. I've got a little video of him that he sent. Well, we did it online. It was during lockdown. There's the rose.
Oh, sorry.
That's it. Thank you, Cathy, for showing us this. Bless.
That's for Lily Rose.
Oh.
Because there was a bit of, not an argument, but I think Ricky got upset because Charlie called one of his little girl Lily Rose, not knowing that was the same.
But that's lovely.
Yeah, he didn't. I think it was just, how it felt at the time.
I think that's lovely, though.
You should have some food.
Right, Cathy, I just want one last thing is thank you for doing this. I would have done a longer message and we could probably do this another time. But Cathy, can you just give me a message that you would give people who are listening to this and watching this? Just a message from your wisdom, because you've got so much wisdom in your little finger.
Yeah, but I don't write everything down.
No, I know.
Like you do.
I don't.
No, you don't.
I used to. You used to do my typing.
Yeah. Just be nice and kind to each other. Always care. Show you care about people. And try and be understanding as you can. We're not all made the same. We've all got our different personalities, but be kind, because people that we love are precious.
And Cathy, I'd like to say that we all really love you.
No, oh no.
And you're supposed to say, I love you all too.
Well, of course I do.
Of course you do.
Without saying, doesn't it?
Okay, so we're going to close now because Cathy's getting a bit tired, so bless you.
I want you to have some food.
I'll get food, don't worry.